sim racing has become too expensive, and that's why we've set up our membership here at Apex Racing Sim. This is our sim centre in Corby, and you can use the rigs here for as little as £20 a month. And that's not just for a one-off, that's as much as you want for an entire month. So just head over to apexracingsim.com to become a member.
Hello and welcome to the finale of Season 10 in the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. And what a championship finale we have in store. A couple of our championships need to be decided. Most importantly, the GTP Pro title. We head into the final round with two teammates level on points with a winner-takes-all scenario. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. I'll be joined later on by Ashley Denman to bring you through the action. But for this first 15 minutes, it will just be myself to preview what is set to be a potentially very dramatic race, a very important race for our championship races. So let's have a look to begin with then with our championship to see the situation. It is Francesco Iliano and Swameli Villa level on points, 316 points apiece. In the previous round, Iliano had a fantastic chance to head into this round, only needing a third place finish in order to secure the championship, a feat that he has regularly achieved with ease this season. But a late race spin puts him in the wall and means that he is going to have to beat his teammate Swameli Villa likely to win this title. Most likely, considering that Villa has won 5 races so far this season. It will not be an easy feat. Simone Nucera, Maxime Gord and Randy Martin fighting for the best of the rest spots. Then we look at our GTP AM standings, and it's been totally dominant. Federico Sartor, of course, teammates to the GTP Pro championship contenders, and he is right in with a chance at winning the overall race today. He could be an important championship player. And in the LMP2 Pro standings, we've already had Craig Bobroy in chat talk about the potential perfect season coming for Tom Griggs. He hasn't won every round this season, but that would be selfish, frankly. He has given one race win away, but if he can win 8 out of 9 rounds, considering there's a drop score in play, he would have a perfect 400-point score. You can't do any better than that. That is on the cards for Tom Griggs, and I think the bookies would very much make him the favourite to achieve that very rare feat tonight. In the LMP2 AMS, it is still potential for changes. Aidan Carter has a very strong lead, 28 points. Really, all he needs to do is finish this race. Considering he has a drop score and considering that you score points as long as you finish within 5 laps of the overall race leader, he should be fine to do that, and the AM title should be Aidan Carter's. He has finished on the podium in the AMS every single race this season, so is a formidable force. In the team standings, we have the GTP team standings here. It's Absolute Motorsports. Way out in front. I think that might technically be able to change, I think, but it's unlikely to. And in the LMP2 Pro standings, LMP2 team standings, sorry, we have Effect Simulations. They are mathematically the champions, so congratulations to them. They'll be getting some Apex Racing Academy subscriptions to their names, and of course, the drivers champions will also be getting a trophy heading their way as well. So a nice little accomplishments for them to remember their season by. Let's have a look at the tracks we've visited this season then. It started all the way back in March at Silverstone, and we've gone to a mixture of circuits, Laguna Seca and Belle Isle, the particular ones which have really stood out this season as unusual circuits for us to go to. But we are going to one of the core circuits. I mean, you've got the Road Americas, Road Atlanta, Sebring, Daytona, Spa, Monza as the absolute regular circuits in the IMSA official series, and we end off with one of them, Road America, one of the best circuits in the world and a fantastic place to crown our champions. And our race format, it is just a 60-minute race today, not the 75 minutes. It will not be a zero stop as we saw last time at Belle. This will be a high fuel consumption circuit, so both the GTP and the LMP2 drivers will need to be taking a pit stop. And in terms of weather, we haven't had much rain this season. I think we had a little bit at Portsmouth, a bit at Imola as well, but it will be completely dry today and fairly warm as well for the drivers to have to deal with as we move further into the summer currently in the Northern Hemisphere. And we can talk about an upcoming series coming up on Apex Racing League. It's our Endurance Championship, the 4th season that we've been hosting this championship, and it's always a lot of fun. We always have a really stacked field. We're running the GTP, LMP2 and GT3 cars, and you can sign up now yourself. Just head over to apexracingleague.com and you can get your name down. And we're going to 6 really good circuits. A couple of new circuits in there as well, like Nürburgring will be heading there for the first time, but we've also got a couple of classics like Sebring and Watkins Glen to enjoy as well. So really recommend heading over to apexracingleague.com. You can also sign up for our Porsche Cup Championship as well, but that one is filling up very quick. That starts in 3 weeks' time. You'll need to get your names down for both those series nice and soon to confirm your place on the grid. Well, let's have a look at our track then, the Road America circuit. It is one of the absolute best in the world. I'm sure me and Ashley will rave about this place in a little bit, but personally, if I could have any circuit host around of Formula 1 for myself, it would certainly be this one. It would be absolutely perfect. Of course, being based in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin does not help it in that regard, but on the sim racing world we visit here plenty enough, and it is a fantastic flow. Turn 5, of course, one of the best overtaking spots on the entire circuit, heading up the hill into T6. Super tricky weather. Rear end goes light. It'll be very tricky in the GTP cars, so the car will feel very awkward through there. And then maybe just flat out through T7. I'm not sure if that's going to be too much of a trouble. Plunging down the hill into T8, and then of course we've got the very long carousel corner where the drivers, I'm sure, will be putting in a lot of effort in practice right before the session and earlier on in the week to find the exact best line. And then really, I think one of the best sections of all World Motorsport through the kink, the sense of speed through T11 and rushing through the middle of the trees, almost like a boulevard down into Canada Corner at T12. Probably the last great overtaking spot on the circuit. But I mean, one of the fantastic elements of this circuit is that you can have a run to the line, perhaps force a driver on the defense into T14, get a good exit, and perhaps have a run right to the end. And what a finale to the championship that would be if we potentially see that for one of our class victories today. Well, I have made some predictions for today, and well, I really was dancing on a fence earlier on when it came to the GTPs. Obviously, there are 2 names who you expect to win. We've got Samuele Villa up there, and we have Francesco Iliano, who are fighting for the championship. And frankly, I couldn't pick either one, so I went for someone else. I went for Antonino Segre. Of course, managed to finish 2nd place at Belle, his joint best result of the season. It would be awesome to see him take a race victory today. Federico Sartor, of course, dominates in the championship. The question is, will he win the overall race today, rather than will he win the GTP AMS, because he has been so dominant. In the LMP2 Pros, Tom Griggs. Let's make it a perfect season for him, with 400 points potentially on the cards. And LMP2 AM, Aiden Carter. Of course, hasn't won the championship yet in the LMP2 AMS, needs to finish today to secure it. But yeah, as long as he has a clean run, he should be good. And of course, he has been so strong. It would be nice to see him cap off what has been a really strong season for him. A master in several different categories, Aiden has proven in the past few weeks. And he signed up for the new Porsche Cup Series as well. So look forward to seeing him in that. Well, we will go to an advert now. And when we're back, we'll have Ashley Denman with me commentating over the qualifying action. See you in just a couple of minutes.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
So, welcome to Road America. We are just a couple of minutes away from qualifying, and I can introduce Ashley Denman. Ashley, how are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Thank you very much, Sam. Happy to be here. And you already mentioned it in your intro, but yeah, what a circuit to turn up for.
Definitely, yeah. You picked a good one for Road America, and of course a dramatic finale as well. I mean, it's always a tricky thing when it comes to the final round of the season, and you're like, oh, we've got drop scores in play. I'm sure you were doing that the other day in the GT3 trophy. But it's really nice that Samuele and Francesco, they're level on points, and it's literally a winner takes all. So we know it's literally whichever car finishes first wins the title, and so there's no complicated maths for us to do, and it's going to be nice and easy for everyone watching to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it simple, doesn't it? And that
yeah,
it always makes it yeah, easy to follow, like you said. And yeah, it's just who can get to the checker flag fastest, or in sometimes in the words of Alan Prost, who can get there the slowest and still be up front. But it's going to be an interesting one. I would love to see potentially a photo finish, and it could happen here. It's been done before, and particularly that final sector after turn 12 up to 14, then the checker flag. You can go side by side there.
Yeah, it's very, very possible. We've seen that plenty of times over the years in the past. So, yeah, we'll see if that yeah, comes to fruition today. And it would be very good. I mean, expect to see the cars, as long as you're similar pace, you should be able to keep up around this very high draft circuit. Of course, we talk about it plenty of times. The LMP2s aren't particularly drafty, but the GTPs certainly are. So, yeah, they should be able to stick fairly close. In practice, which gives us a little bit of an indication of who's going to be fastest come qualifying, we've got Samuele Villa at the top of the standings. And I'm interested to see, actually, that it looks like we have no Federico Sartor around today. So that means Nick Madsen is currently third fastest. But yeah, Sartor, GTP and title winner already. A little bit of a shame that he's not going to be able to duke it out with Villa and Iliana, but that means that even more so it's just a 1v1, because really, if anyone's going to challenge those two, it was going to be Sartor.
Yeah, you could argue it's a shame, but maybe it is to just nicer to see them go at it without having the extra pressure of fighting other drivers on the circuit. I mean, I'm a bit unfamiliar pace-wise what these two can do, whether they're just going to pull away out front, or whether maybe you might see like Nick Messon. I can see there he's from practice at least sort of third and not too far off them. So you might see a few other drivers maybe try and sneak a move in or two in the opening laps, but I'd like to see a showdown. I think that's what we're all here to see.
Definitely. Nick, of course, here for his second race of the season. He was around in Belle Isle and actually really struggled in qualifying at Belle Isle, albeit that is a very tricky task to set a clean lap around that circuit. I think he'll feel a little bit more at home at Road America, but yeah, I do think that the top two will likely be able to pull away out in front, and yeah, I mean, maybe qualifying might not even be that important potentially, because you might want to follow, save fuel, and have a shorter pit stop potentially. Albeit if you're starting P2, of course, you do run the risk of being overtaken by P3 off the start. So lots of things for those guys to consider. Of course, in qualifying, we're going to have the first 10 minutes just for the LMP2s, and then the second 10 minutes for the GTP. So we'll see how this man, Tom Griggs, who has won 7 out of 8 rounds so far this season, he's also managed to score 3 pole positions this season. He has actually not had that great of a qualifying record, but yeah, come the races, he's been very tricky speeds.
Is it bad to root for someone? Because I feel like we have to be unbiased, don't we? But I mean, you want to see a perfect score, don't you? I mean, how often does that come about? I'd argue it hasn't happened before. Maybe you can correct me on that one, Sam. But wouldn't it be something to see if that does come to fruition as well? Because yeah, it just shows the talent available in this series and what these guys are up against. If you are trying to compete with some of the best out there. I recognise the name Tom Griggs a lot from Garage 61. Don't know if I can say that, but he's always up there right at the top in terms of pace and lap times, and he is a real talent.
He is very, very good, is Tom. His iRacing currently sits at 8.4k, which is the highest of anyone in the series, and by over 1,000 iRacing at that as well. So no, he is yeah, one of the best drivers we have in all of Apex Racing League. Has won the Endurance Championship, I think, in the past as well, alongside Paul Busby for Effect Simulations. So yeah, we'll see if he can do that. His main rivals could be Lucas Diaz, who was very quick in qualifying at Belle Isle, just struggled to really put it all together in the end. In the race, fell backwards in the end, got beaten by a couple of his teammates. I think it may be Alberto Companion, who I think was maybe second fastest in practice, with Griggs as the fastest. So yeah, we'll see if who can come out on top in that.
Absolutely. I mean, Belle Isle is a brilliant choice, I will add. I can't imagine how it really fared for these guys in the prototypes. They are so wide and, of course, very downforce reliant through the corners, but we enjoyed the finale of the GT3 trophy there. That was a spectacle, I will add. It was really fun to watch them race around there, and surprisingly very minimal contact as well for it. So really good racing. I would also recommend seeing that one afterwards if we are done here, because that was also a great race to watch. But yeah, it's a completely different kettle of fish here tonight, of course, Sam. A more traditional circuit, a circuit that has been unchanged since it was opened.
Yeah, I often go on the racecircuits.info page and sort of look at how the layouts change over time, and yeah, this one's just stayed as is. And I mean, why would you change it, right? Because it was perfect when they originally made it, and besides a few runoff areas, I mean, just the Bill Mitchell Bend that they're heading through now. I think there used to be a bridge there, I think, which is quite scary to think about with the lack of runoff that they used to have. But yeah, besides elements like that, yeah, all the corners are all the same.
I was just thinking, you can't really improve on perfection, but you kind of stole the words out of my mouth. But yeah, you're right. It's such a brilliant circuit. It just fits in with the contours of the earth it was built on. And that's something I love what America does with their racing circuits, that they don't try to carve into what's already there. They just build on it and work it into the architecture, and you get amazing circuits such as this here. at Road America. I mean, the other one that jumps to mind, of course, is Road Atlanta, that is built around and on the geography that it was given, you know, the down into the S's. Fantastic sections.
Definitely. Well, currently we've got the first lap times coming in. Of course, the drivers will maybe find a little bit more pace because the tyres might be warming up, albeit, of course, it is such a long lap round here. I think they'd get a decent amount of temperature in their tyres after the first lap, albeit Foniok still struggling for one reason or another with a spin at T3. I wonder if Lewis could just change the standings to the overall rather than per class, I think, just so we can see the relatives. And he might show me on screen as well, because I think everyone will want to see that, of course, albeit we don't have David's wonderful face. Where is he? He's usually there. He's usually where my wart spot is, I think, at the moment. But yeah, we do not have him today. Yeah, we'll have him back for the Endurance Series starting in a few weeks' time. There's Samuel Shepherd, currently second favourite, or second fastest out there on circuit. And yeah, he has had a good season, has Samuel. I'm just trying to remember how many races he's run. He has won 2 of the last 3 races, in fact, has Samuel, and also got a pole a few weeks ago. So if anyone is going to trouble, yeah, of course, Aidan Carter in the AMs and Tom Griggs in the pros, it could well be this man. Let's see how he does this time around.
Yep, up to the line, should be there or thereabouts, and we'll see what the time is updated, whether it's an improvement or not. It is an improvement, not in position though, but does close the gap between himself and Griggs at the front. And I wonder, Sam, is your water bottle potentially harnessing the power of David throughout this series, I wonder?
Yeah, it's been acting weird, honestly. It's been saying some nonsensical stuff all day. So yeah, I think you've absolutely tapped onto that one. I think that is what's going on. Yeah, I'll watch that for today. Lucas Diaz crosses the line. Currently 3rd fastest companion. Of course, 2nd fastest in practice. Currently 4th fastest right now. Watch out for Martin Vargo. Of course, started out the season actually as an amateur driver, but he was so quick he got changed to the pros. And has struggled a little bit since then, but he is still absolutely rapid, is Martin. And I think it was Martin who was leading back at Laguna Seca by like 10 seconds and made a mistake. With about 10 minutes to go, albeit with slightly aging tyres, and did not win that one. And Tom Griggs ended up winning instead. It was a pretty heartbreaking loss for him, but we'll see if he can try to recreate that form that he had at Laguna Seca earlier on in the season.
Absolutely, the more fighting at the front, the merrier, I say. As Demai there in 2nd, he's, what's that, 0.02 of a second ahead of Shepherd, so that's a real nice lap from him there. But again, Griggs still commanding the provisional pole at the moment by a good few tenths ahead of the next car. But back after that, it's looking pretty close there, Sam. So I would like to think we should see a lot of decent racing action. You already mentioned it's a high draft circuit. That is just purely down to these really long straights. And the nice thing about it is they are into fairly hefty braking zones as well. So a real good chance to get alongside and make a move down the inside of your competitor.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, particularly T5 at the end of this very long straight. We had a question about whether this is the first potential perfect score. I'm going to be honest, we have had about 60-odd ARL seasons, and each of those seasons have like multiple divisions. I can't recall if we've ever had a perfect score. I can't remember a specific occasion where it's happened. I'll go as far to say that. So it may have happened before, but I'm not entirely sure. I really don't think anyone's ever won every single round. I think I would remember that. And if anyone wants to look on the Apex Racing League website and go into the archive section and go through every single result, you're free to do that. But yeah, unfortunately, over the course of 6 years, or 7 years even, of ARL existing, I'm not 100% sure if it has ever happened again. But we'll say that it is the first confirmed time, and then everyone is witness to it and can bring it up. In future, as Griggs is motoring around, he's got 2 personal best sectors, so he might go even further ahead.
reckon give someone in the chat half an hour, they'll come back with the answer.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
put it
I'm
into
sure they
get
would.
chat GPT to look at it, and you know that could be half accurate. So yeah, so
Got a good chance at least, haven't you? But yeah, Griggs up to the line then. What can he do here? He's still provisional pole by a few tenths of a second. Is he going to improve that time? Yes, he is. Half a second up then on Demay and Shepherd, second and third. That is some rapid driving there from Tom Griggs.
really strong from Griggs. Diaz is improving as well, but his fourth sector is slightly off. His fifth sector's good though, so watch out for Diaz. Shepherd crosses the line. Can he go ahead of Demay? He can, and by quite a margin as well, actually. I think Diaz is going to go ahead of Demay as well here. I'm not sure if he's going to get Shepherd necessarily. He does get Shepherd by nearly a tenth of a second, so really the time's improving late on now in this session. This is their last attempts because their 10-minute part of the session is up. Joshua Germany, the next across the line, he hasn't got any personal best sectors on this lap, but he's not completely out of contention. I think he's only a few hundredths off in each of them, so maybe he could gain a couple of places here on a couple of his amateur rivals, but he cannot, so he stays in P11. And I think Tom Griggs crossed the line maybe before the time. I hope he doesn't give himself a penalty here by unnecessarily going for an extra lap, but I think he has got time to do this lap, and he is going even faster. Personal best sector 1 and sector 2 and sector 4, so this could be even faster for Tom Griggs coming on.
I've just checked and gone back. He crossed the line with 4 seconds to spare, so he's not going to pick up a penalty, and he definitely is on a flyer that is going to count. And like you just said, he seems to be improving as well. I mean, I don't think he needs to. The drivers behind him that are close enough to compete and challenge are in the pit, and he's not even going to finish it.
Well, it looked like a really good lap for him. It wasn't a personal best sector 3, but maybe he was listening to you and maybe he thought, oh, maybe I was a little bit tight to the line. I don't want to risk it, get a 5-second penalty later on. So, yeah, he comes back to the pits. Our timing overlay just having a little bit of an issue, so we might just need to restart that. But that will be back with us nice and sync. But it is Griggs on pole position. I think all those times are accurate in the LMP2s, and now we'll find what the GTPs can do. Of course, last time out at Belle Isle, the time difference between the GTPs and LMP2s are very small. Like the gap between the back of the GTPs and top of the LMP2s, maybe about a second a lap, just due to the nature of the circuit. This place, though, with many long straights and fast speed corners, will have quite a large difference between the two types of car. We're running on board with Samuele Villa, and a reminder to anyone who's just tuning in, it is a winner-takes-all situation. Villa and Iliano, they are teammates. Whoever wins this round will win the championship. It is that simple. And of course, the first part of that will be who can get pole position, albeit, like I said earlier on, taking pole position isn't necessarily where you want to be, because if you're second, you can use the draft and save fuel and have a shorter pit stop. So it's not necessarily the most important thing in the world.
It's not, and I'd even argue a step further, down to turn 1 of lap 1. It's quite a long run up to that corner. That draft effect will come into play. So being on pole might not actually be the optimal strategy anyway. Maybe you do want to be second or third, get the draft and get the jump into turn 1. But like you say, equally, you're looking at the fuel load and working out what is going to be the best strategy here for the race. It's a tricky one to judge, isn't it, Sam? Because it's never as clear cut as it first seems.
Yes, yeah, and these guys are so good. They can make different strategies work. As Samuele Villa goes to the top a bit, I think it will take a couple of laps, as we saw in the LMP2s, for the absolute best times to be delivered, but it'll still give us an indication of the pace. And frankly, 7/10 off between Villa and Madsen. Madsen was third fastest in practice. That was about how far off Madsen was. That is how dominant Villa and Iliano are. Today, Iliano just over half a second back. I'm sure he'll get significantly closer than that as the session progresses.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Track temp is dropping and the tyre temps will increase, giving them more optimal grip as they get onto their second and third lap. No doubt getting ever faster. They just really need to make sure that they can keep it in the confines of the white line, because these qualifying laps is where you're going to be pushing it to the limit. And then by the time you get to the race, you kind of dial it back by, I'd say, maybe 5%, just to make sure that you keep it all neat and tidy together. But again, another thing that's a fine line to balance and walk along. You don't want to go too much, push it on the grass and lap over and qualifying over.
Yeah, yeah, especially if you actually manage to find a wall around here as well. You have to take back to the pits and do another out lap, warm up your tyres. It can really be very costly. So the drivers will be avoiding that if they possibly can. As Nusa taking quite a wide line there through the carousel, perhaps the best line that he's found in his hours of practice so far this week. As Samuel Villa coming up to the line, he'll be setting his second lap. He is quite far ahead of Iliano on circuit, and I do wonder if that will result in him getting an extra lap on circuit. Could be an advantage. Goes even faster. But this will be the really the first representative, and well, looking at this time, it looks like Iliano is going to be about 0.2 of a second down. I think he's going to beat Madsen quite comfortably, but this looks like it's going to be about 0.25 of a second back for Iliano, and yeah, it is about that distance back. So Villa certainly with the upper hand, albeit in practice it did look closer than that. So once again, I wouldn't be surprised if Iliano does get into 48s.
No, I mean, I can't imagine why they wouldn't. I mean, the bit that's interesting for me, Sam, and maybe you can help shed some light for me, but also the listeners and the watchers. Ferrari versus Porsche. Is there a car here that maybe has a slight edge, or do you think they are very well balanced in terms of the balance of performance?
That is a very good question. I'll go on Instagram and see, because this series is sponsored by Apex Racing Academy, and one of the good things, if you follow Apex Racing Academy on Instagram, is that we post the BOP each week in the IMSA and GT Sprint series, so you can find what is the best car. I can say for this round of the season, the Cadillac is actually the best GTP rounds here, according to Apex Racing Academy. The Ferrari about 0.04 of a second slower. The Porsche is actually 0.25 of a second off, so the difference between the Ferrari and the Porsche about 0.2 of a second. There are, of course, other elements when it comes to tyre wear and fuel usage as well, which might be factors, but maybe the Ferrari with the slight advantage. And yeah, of course, Villa is currently that similar to 0.5 of a second ahead of Iliano.
I feel that could answer the question here, potentially in qualifying, and because I would imagine the times you're mentioning are based off a one-lap pace, and you mentioned as well, it's not about just one-lap pace, particularly in a 60-minute long race. You do have to factor in fuel, tyres, what car is going to do better on the longer runs, as Iliano goes within 0.2 now of Villa. That is mighty close indeed, as Gore jumps up to third there. That's a really impressive lap from the Frenchman in the Cadillac as well. So maybe a third driver here could shake things up at the front.
Yeah, Maxime has, on occasion for Scuderia Volpi by P1 Sim, has had the pace to challenge these guys. It's sort of been, yeah, some weeks he's been able to do it, some weeks he's been a little bit further off. I think he has got a pole this season. He hasn't actually got a pole this season, yeah, I'm surprised by that. Albeit his teammate has got a pole. Randy Martin did get a pole back at Hockenheim earlier on in the season. So, yeah, they have been quick on occasion, have Scuderia Volpi, and of course the Cadillac, since the mid-season BOP, has had a bit more of a resurgence. It has been a strong car. Of course, a couple of seasons ago, I dare I say last season we had of this, which was about a year ago. It was a long time ago. We had season 9. The whole field were Acuras. The Acura was so fast for, I feel like 18 months, maybe even 2 years, and now we do not see a single one of them out on circuit. A lot of people are glad about that because it wasn't necessarily the nicest car to drive. But yes, we have just got Ferraris, Porsches, and Cadillacs out there in the GTPs today.
I know the feeling based off the GT3s with that mid-season BOP as well. A lot of them a lot of the drivers were all driving the Ford GT, absolute monster down the straights. It was a mid-season bot change, and suddenly the Porsche and Mercedes, I think, sort of came into the limelight, and the Ferrari as well seemed to have a resurgence there. So it's another familiar story, it sounds like, but it's nice to see when they do have a balance of performance change, that of course all the cars get mixed around once again, and you can see and figure out what is going to suit you best, but of course which manufacturer rises towards the top end of things. But qualifying is about to come to a close here, Sam, so I would imagine drivers are finishing up their final laps.
Yeah, they got this lap to complete their times, just with the format of this series. So they do still have this half lap. Iliano is back in the pits. Villa is still out there. We'll see if he completes his lap, but I don't think anyone is gonna challenge it. I think Maxime Gord is still out there, and Gord is setting some pretty good sector times. I wouldn't be shocked if Gord is able to surpass Iliani here, because he is on a personal best first sector. His second sector is lacking. His third sector is spectacular though. It is that is a third sector, I want to say about a tenth of a second faster than anyone else has done, including the top two. So if he can keep this up, Maxime Gord, he's not going to be a million miles away from a potential pole position. And this is not what, this is what Iliani didn't want really. It's to potentially drop down, albeit third place. Sometimes it's actually a better place to start than second, because you can have a better visual on whoever is on pole. Can Villa go even faster? He cannot. So it's up to this man then, Maxime Gord. We've also got Simone Nucera out on circuit, albeit he's way down in sector 3, so it's not going to challenge the top 3. But Gord could be a little bit of an upset factor here. He is really putting some good sector times. I think Marco Falan has just improved up into P5. But where can Gord go? Is this good enough for the front row of the grid? Is it good enough for pole position even? He crosses the line and he stays third. And looking at the sector times, he must have picked up a 1x, because he set 5 personal best sectors out of 6 on that lap. So must have picked up a 1x, and well, that could have been quite a dangerous time for the Absolute Motorsport cars.
I was just thinking, how has that happened? Because, yeah, looking at it, he's got greens across the board, pretty much. And I thought it was certain he was going to jump into that second place spot and upset the battle that is about to commence here. But, yeah, must have picked something up somewhere around the circuit. It is fairly easy to do so around here as well. There's a bit of runoff at the majority of the corners. Of course, do it too much and you do end up in some gravel or grass. But you do get a little bit of leeway, and sometimes just push it beyond the boundaries, and he certainly found that. But it does mean the two titans, the epic battle that we're about to see, is not going to be upset at the front.
No, well, we'll see what Gord's start is like, but I think seeing that the teammates Villa and Iliano, I mean, it's so weird, right? If you're championship contenders, but your teammates, like, will Villa say, oh, I'm about to go, you know, sort of count it down in that way? Of course, they did collide back at Road Atlanta when fighting for the lead, Villa coming off second best on that occasion, albeit wasn't protested after the race. So, yeah, it's we're a little bit unsure exactly how aggressive they're going to be, these two drivers. But here is the grid. It's Villa on pole alongside Iliano. Remember, it's a winner takes all between the pair of them. Then it is Maxime Gord, Simone Nucera, Marco Falan, Antonino Segro, Nick Madsen, again with a slightly underwhelming qualifying for Madsen, but you can see the times were fairly close from the second row down to the fourth row. But do expect Madsen, I think, to gain a few places like he did at Belle Isle. Toth starts in P8. And then in the LMP2, he's going for the perfect 400, is Tom Griggs ahead of his teammate Lucas Diaz. Samuel Shepard on pole in the amateurs ahead of Christophe Demey and Alberto Companion. Then it's Martin Varga, Ethan Lawrence, Samuel Foniok, Dan McCauley, Jensen Bosworth, Joshua Germany, Aiden Carter with a really poor qualifying by his standards. I'm not quite sure what was going on there. He just needs to finish the race, and he's champion. Ayrton Reutemann in 21st place, and Christopher Bella in 22nd place. I'll ask you here, Ashley, out of those names, which of those names sort of do you like the sound of? Just judging by the name, because there's one name that stands out to me as the absolute best name, I think, in all ARL.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking, and they come from Argentina?
I am thinking exactly that. Yeah. What a
Yeah,
name.
yeah. No, I saw it and I was just like, I want to say it. just impulsively wanted to say Ayrton Reutemann because it's two legends of the pinnacle of open wheel motorsport rolled into one. I mean, you can't really improve on it, I don't think.
Absolutely. I mean, Ayrton hasn't come for an interview with us this season, but if he does, I think question one would have to be, your parents must be motorsport fans, right? I imagine anyone who's called Ayrton, right, must sort of have
Surely.
tie. Surely that's, I don't know how common a name it is over in Latin America, but yeah, like that must be the reason why he was named Ayrton. And then of course the fortunate thing of already being called Reutemann as well. So
Reutemann,
best
yeah.
of luck to him.
Yeah, brilliant name. You mentioned, I just want to get it in real quick, Sam. You mentioned at the start of the reading down the quali results. These two at the front, Villa and Iliano, are they going to be, how are they going to race each other? In my opinion, you kind of have to put the fact that your teammates aside. This is going for glory. It's all about yourself here. And it is a case of letting your ego come into play a little bit because you want to be number one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do need to do that. But then at the same time, equally, they are going to have to work together after this, I assume.
True.
And so you don't necessarily, you don't want to break any bridges. You don't want to burn any bridges. Obviously, and they'll want to win the championship fairly, but it may well come down to that. I mean, it's all well and good us saying, they'll try to be polite, but in the end, there is a very real possibility that the draft will keep these guys paired together for this entire race, and it will come down to the last lap, and there will be a chance at a dive heading into T5 on the last lap, and a decision will have to be made whether they go for it or not. And like I said before, they have already collided when fighting for the win earlier this season, so it could change. We did have a question in chat from Corbin Lenaway. Great to have you around, Corbin. Of course, I think Corbin raced in the Foxteca series, which hopefully will come back soon. Of course, keep an eye out on the Apex Racing League Discord about that. There's a link to that Discord in the description below. But what scenario is needed for Sam Shepherd to win the championship, is what Corbin asked. And basically, Corbin, what needs to happen is that Aiden Carter needs to not finish this race. That means he needs to finish more than 5 laps down on the LMP2 leader, the pro leader, or whoever wins the overall LMP2 race. And then Sam would need really any result, really, like P10. But even if Sam won the LMP2s and Aiden was down in outside the top 10, I think even then Aiden would have enough of a gap to win the title. So that's pretty much the situation in that championship.
I'm glad you took on the question, Sam. When I looked at it, I think I was reading the overall LMP2, and so my answer was going to be he needs a time machine to go back and win a few more races. But yeah, no, you're right. For the amateur class, yeah, it's going to be almost a miracle for him, but it's not out of the question. I mean, motor racing, including sim racing, in that brings out the craziest scenarios.
Well, and of course, you can always have hardware failures. I mean, we don't really take it as seriously as mechanical failures in real life because they are more rare. But in the end, if Aiden has a problem with his PC where he can't race midway through, that will be the championship gone for him. So he needs his equipment to hold up for him to win this title. And if it doesn't, he needs to be very quick and within about 10 minutes manage to get everything back working again. But here we go then for the final round of the season then. Villa versus Iliano for the GTP Pro Championship in Season 10 of the ARL Prototypes Championship. And away we launch. Villa gets a good start. Iliano crucially gets a good start as well. He's been able to keep behind Gord as they thunder down into T1. Gord just having to defend, it looks like, from Nucera heading down into T1. And Nucera not able to attack too much. The driver's just warming up the tyres right now as Villa leads them through. In the LMP2s, we have got Tom Griggs leading them away from the start. It's a fantastic launch for Griggs, and it will be Lucas Diaz trying to fend off for that P2, heading into T1 if he possibly can. And I think he has lost out to Samuel Shepherd there, a couple of the drivers running wide. And in fact, one driver around there, it's Aidan Carter, our championship leader, but I think he has avoided any walls, which is the most important thing for him.
Yeah, I mean, we just literally said about the crazy scenarios that can happen. Well, there it is, straight off at the start. Carter down at the back of the field. But like you say, Sam, I think he just needs to make sure he finishes this race, and he should be coming home pretty clean in that regard. But yeah, the fact that Shepherd way up there in the podium spots and Carter down at the back, you could say championship on. What happened there?
He might not be at the back anymore because Christopher Bella, Joshua Germany, and Jensen Bosworth have all come to blows, and actually Carter is still at the back of that one, so we'll get a replay of that in a little bit as Martin Varga is the next to go off the circuit. So lots of off for these LMP2 cars, but I don't think any of them have suffered too much damage on this opening half lap as they head round the carousel for the first time. And just in the lead of the GTP Pros, interestingly, Via with a 9/10, even a second gap, which is getting pretty close to breaking the draft. You'll see the interval on the top left there, and you can see Iliane is still, well, is he gaining really any time? Just shows that the draft really isn't existent back there, and well, Via could be making a crucial race move right now.
You tend to get like a distant toe, don't you, around about the second mark, and then anything above that, I think it really drops off at a rapid pace. So he's sort of on the bubble, isn't he, right there, Iliana? He needs to make a move to close that gap ever so slightly, just so he has got a little bit of a benefit. Otherwise, we may see him come under fire from Maxime Gord behind. So this could be crucial right from the get-go. Villa on the attack, you could argue.
Yeah, these are some crucial laps for Villa if he can just pull away a little bit further, because it is so tricky in these early stages. As yeah, so Carter there forced very wide and he lost the rear end. Did he dip a wheel onto the grass like halfway around that corner?
I don't think he did. It looked to me like he just got a loss of traction on the curbing, where he was forced to touch wide, as that is just deep there from those two. Luckily, no big contact. But yeah, I think with Carter there, just a touch wide on the curbing and lost the rear traction, trying to get under acceleration.
Yeah, I think we'll see he just catches the grass a little bit before the curb, just a tiny bit, like because these cars I think have traction control, so it's really unusual for them to react in that way. And I'm not sure if they have actually traction control. I do drive the LMP2 a decent amount. I generally don't know. The first gear is so long that it just like isn't even an issue usually with the traction. But apologies if I've got that wrong. Yeah, Aidan just in the pack, you know, and that's what happens when you're that far back. I will start using the calculator because obviously he is at the back, and I'm sure he won't finish last in cars. He's way too good a driver not to beat a few of these LMP2 cars. But with Shepherd doing so well, it does bring it into question, albeit it looks like Diaz has got back ahead of Shepherd, and actually Shepherd has dropped back a little bit now. So yes, so Diaz taking a few points off Shepherd as it stands.
Yeah,
get a replay of how that happens.
Never see how he is. This looks like coming down into turn 5. I think you're right. I don't think I think the LMP2s do have traction control, just to clarify there. But this move seems to be pretty textbook. Down the inside, later on the brakes. Is there a fight back? A little bit of a look down the inside, but nothing of it. And yeah, nice overtake there from Diaz.
Yeah, Shepherd's struggling a little bit on the cold tyres because you can see he's now a second and a half off the second place man. Gap out in the lead is now to 1.4 seconds. That is definitely out of the draft. So if Francesco Iliano is going to win this title, he has got to, well, he's just got to have more pace than Samuele Villa. Traffic's not going to play a big part today at all because we have got limited field size, only 22 drivers out there. And so it's going to take them a while. This is a long circuit as well, so it's not to say that's going to help. And so Iliano's just got to find something. And of course, according to the bot at least, did seem like the Ferrari was the faster car around this Road America circuit. So the odds are stacked against Francesco Iliano right now. And yeah, had he stayed in the draft in the early stages, he may have had a better chance. But it is just so tricky on those cold tyres to drive at the maximum without going over it.
Yeah, well, they've just finished lap number 3, starting 4, and the difference between who is that of Samuel Finiot? Was that a touch the grass, Sam?
I think he's got damage because he's got full throttle down. Maybe hardware because he's in 6th gear right now, and yeah, I mean he's absolutely flooring the throttle. So will be fascinating to see what has happened there, because usually if your hardware fails, it usually or your wheel fails, it usually turns you hard left. I certainly know there's one hardware manufacturer which certainly does that. Let's see what happened then with Wozniak, because he did have cars behind him. And do we see anything here? So he already had connection issues.
There it is.
And actually he was going hard, right? But I think he absolutely floored the brake, locked up the tyres, and so he had no steering capability. So that was a very good job there from Sam Ellie. Otherwise that could have been an issue.
Yeah, it could have been disastrous. We'll get Macaulay's point of view of what happened as well. There's the connection issue, and whoa! That is some grade A reactions there from Daniel Macaulay to avoid the back of Finiot's car, because, I mean, I don't think he was expecting that at all, obviously, especially coming into the early part of the braking zone. You're going a bit deep in that normally before you see the car slow down.
Yeah, that was very good awareness there from Macaulay. Manages to get through, up a couple of places now from his race start as well. Is Dan Macaulay up 4 places? Reutemann up 4 places as well. Is Christopher Bella. As we now watch Martin Vargas down a couple of places. This is such a risky move here, and and that's risky as well from Reutemann. Blimey, well, that was that was pretty aggressive there from Reutemann. Yeah. Well, that's exactly. So it's very clear now that he was named after us, wasn't it? But he got a lot of understeer there. We'll see. We'll see how fair this was.
I mean, he picked the right car. Varga inside line, shorter part of the circuit, and of course then pushes Macaulay out wide. Sorry, not Macaulay out wide.
It was Macaulay. Yeah, Macaulay's not overtaken him.
So we have the pass and repass, potentially. But, I mean, to me, it looked pretty, all fair. It was aggressive, it really was, but it was definitely a fair move. The gap was there, he went for it. A touch door banging, but in my book, that's okay. I think Reutemann has just got too much on the gas and lost the pace up there.
Yeah, he may have even lifted off there as well. He may have felt bad. He then flashed the lights, maybe as an apology. Or maybe he got such a bad exit that he thought, well, you know what, I may as well look like I've given this up deliberately, and sort of helped his mistake give up the position. So he's going to have to do it again now on Dan Macaulay. Expect those two to be very evenly matched. They have been evenly matched for quite a lot of the season. As off the circuit is Tamas Toth, by the way. He's just lost a place to Nick Madsen. Not sure how Madsen fell behind him actually at the start of the race. These guys quite detached from the rest of the field. I really thought Madsen would be faster than this because he was good in practice, and he was good last time out at Bella. And of course, Nick, a very experienced driver. I mean, he has been racing in these leagues. I think since 2020 actually, as Madsen back in the original Porsche Cup League, which is about to go into its 16th season. So that's how long Nick has been around for. And a driver of many different cars, the Porsche Cup. These prototypes, I think he may have even dabbled in the LMP1s back in the day in this series. Returning to the GTPs now as Aidan Carter moves past Joshua Germany there. So he's up into 19th place overall, and that is 11th place in class.
Yeah, that's some serious longevity from Nick. That's really impressive to know that he's accomplished all those things and been, I'm guessing, right at the sharp end of it as well. So real impressive accolades there, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, we saw Carter right down at the back we saw him just overtake Joshua Germany for a position. But I think other than that, he's just been picking up sort of, I'm not going to call it scraps, but just sort of the mistakes from the other drivers around him. Bosworth and of course Finiok, for no fault of his own, out of this race with hardware issues by the seams of things. So Carter hasn't had to do an awful lot, and he's just slowly gaining the positions there.
I've done some maths, and if Shepherd wins this race, then Carter would need to finish in 19th place in order to overhaul the points difference, which is 28 points. Of course, there are not 19 LMP2 cars out there, so it literally is a situation where Carter would need to not finish and therefore pick up no points in order for Shepherd to have a contention. I did think, mate, I was thinking back when Shepherd was in P2 and Carter was last, could that be a change? But no, it is quite a shallow sort of point system where it is just 1 point down for each position. After we get outside of the top 5, so not too much that he needs to do to win the title. So of course, Carter only has got a faster car as well, so even if he smashes it into the wall, he can quickly fix the car and he would be fine. It's really just a hardware issue which could deny him from here. As we watch Simone Nucera close in on Maxime Gord on that last lap. He was a couple of tenths faster.
Absolutely, and of course the Villa and Iliano out front, the gap has stabilised by the seams of things. I think Iliano maybe lost a tenth or so last time we checked in, but I mean pace-wise they're pretty evenly matched, and it looks like Nucera has closed in to Gord. Gord just lacking a little bit of pace here, I would say, in this mid part of his stint. I mean, fuel-wise, Sam, do you have the statistics of how long they're going to go for, or is it a bit of a guessing game here?
Yeah, I think for the GTPs, they'll be able to go about 45 to 50 minutes. This will be a higher fuel consumption circuit because of the longer straights around here. And then the LMP2s will probably go to about the 40-minute mark. But they'll try to edge that out a little bit further if they possibly can by following each other around. Of course, Villa and Iliana completely in fresh air at the moment. They've still got about a third of the lap until they catch up to the back of the LMP2s as well. So there you can see the gap between second and third out on track. And the fastest lap of the race that last time around for Francesco Iliano. But it's quite demoralising when you go fastest lap of the race and you're only a tenth of a second faster than the man that you're trying to catch.
Yeah, that just goes to show the consistency of them. And yeah, he's gone a tenth faster, and then Villa has instantly pulled that gap back out, I think, in the first few quarters. So barely feels like the needle is moving in the right direction for Iliano, but he's going to keep pushing and trying, isn't he? He's not going to give this one up at all, as this is Christopher Bella behind Carter, who has made the move somewhere, and now Bella trying to retake the position.
Yeah, much later on the brakes, he's not going to get that one stopped, and Carter will move back ahead. But that is how much Carter is... well, yeah, Carter was faster on the previous lap, so yeah, it consolidates that overtake then on Bella. And we'll see if he can start to pull away now, because in these LMP2s, the draft is so weak that unless you are within a tenth of a second or so, or a couple of tenths, then you're probably not going to be able to keep up even in the draft. Here is how Carter got it done originally, and it was actually another gravel moment, so a couple of 1Xs picked up by Bella on this lap, as that is pretty aggressive there from Aidan Carter. And to be fair, so one of the things I should have said as well, actually, is that you can get post-season penalties, because usually if you get enough license points, you pick up a qualifying ban for the next round. But obviously we can't do that because it's the final round of the season. So there is the risk that you might get a post-season penalty. And that is, I think, 20 points, I think. So it is quite sizable. So Carter will need to avoid that if he possibly can, as he's run a little bit wide. And now there is contact. And he is wide, and he is into the wall. And could that be a meatball and a required... It is going to be a required faster pair. Well, we know that he has, of course, one available, Carter. But that is quite shocking. And I think I saw a black flag for Bella as well. So Bella's already reached the 20 incident mark in 15 minutes, which is quite incredible. So, well, Carter's going to have to be careful now for the last 40 minutes because, yeah, a crash would be his championship lead gone.
He needs to get this back to the pit lane first and foremost. I mean, he seems to be gunning it by the looks of things, not slowing down all that much. But yeah, steering wheel, left hand down a little bit, and it's almost a repeat, a mistake. But of course, the other way round, Bella, the aggressor here, and just too aggressive under braking. I mean, the one caveat I will add, that corner there under the Corvette bridge, it's so tricky. And if you've just made it a slight error going into it, you're already going to be naturally a touch slower. So it may have been that he just caught Bella unawares as Carter got onto the brakes for turn 6.
So Bella now serves his drive-through. Carter, interestingly, is going to continue round, perhaps thinking, I don't want to use my faster pair just in case I have an instant later on. I'm just going to limp round this event. Or maybe he's waiting for the pit stop. I mean, he only needs to go another 5 minutes or so, and then he can pit, and he won't have to pit again. So maybe he's trying to avoid making the extra pit stop. Be really interested to see if he does get that damage fixed, because, yeah, if he, yeah, he's not got a meat ball, so he can just, you know, limp around there, and yeah, see how it goes. Bella is now back out on circuit. Did he come to a stop, did Bella? No, he did just go straight through. And he's about to be lapped now by the GTP leaders. But obviously, with a non-damaged car, he's probably going to catch up to Carter before too long. So it might be a renewal of that fight.
I would imagine so. I mean, let's wait and see, because I think the factor is Carter has got a damaged car. How long is he going to stay out on the circuit with that damaged car? And when's he going to make the pit stop and potentially get it all fixed and repaired? Because that could put an end to potentially the fight if Bella doesn't catch up quick enough. But I think, speaking of fighting, this is Daniel Macaulay then a bit further up, and he is having a good, nice battle with Ayrton Reutemann through the final few sectors here. And I think he's having to defend for the moment here, Daniel, but doing a pretty decent job of it thus far.
Viga Vanderbert in the YouTube chat asking, oh sorry, no, it wasn't him, it was Mac Watkins, sorry. How can Sam win the championship? Where does Carter need to finish? Well, Carter would need to finish more than 5 laps down. He would need to score 0 points. But as long as you finish within 5 laps, you are eligible to score points. So that is why I was talking before about the faster pairs. The drivers get a faster pair by default, so even if you smash the car into a million pieces, you can just tow back, lose a lap, and have the car magically fixed. But if you do that twice, obviously, then you haven't got the faster pair to save you that second time round, and you do run the risk of falling 5 laps down. So that might be why Carter isn't pitting now, and we'll see if he actually does take the faster pair, whether he maybe takes a little bit of optionals for maybe 30 seconds, 60 seconds, just to make the car a bit more drivable, and then continues on his way. Christophe Demey in P12 currently, and he is chasing down Samuel Shepherd, who of course overtook Lucas Diaz right off the line, then fell back behind Diaz, and now he's in the clutches of the Delta V Racing driver, who was on that last lap a 1/10 of a second faster.
Flash of the lights, clearly feels like he deserves the position more at this point, but this of course will help Carter even further. But I think, like we've said already a few times, Carter just has to finish. I don't think it matters too much where Shepherd does place. Of course, Carter, as long as he doesn't lag out or equipment failure, just bring it to the checker flag. It should be good as done. But yeah, I mean, it's always helpful if you can knock down your rival a few positions with some other people getting past them. You're not going to say no to that one.
Definitely not. I think there's been an overtake for Ayrton Reutemann on Dan Macaulay. I think Dan into Canada corner, so Reutemann up into 16th place. Of course, we saw him make a questionable move, actually at the kink, the corner that they just went through earlier on, and Reutemann then pretty much handed back the position. This time, it looks like he's going to keep it, and he was much faster into Canada corner and overtakes Macaulay nice and easily. Aiden Carter's back into, of course we saw Aiden. We've gone through that whole palaver with him being damaged. I was getting very confused. of course, Bosworth ahead of him in 9th place, as DeMay has got past Shepherd now. So DeMay up into 3rd place. Looks like Shepherd either ran wide by himself or was maybe escorted out to the perimeter of the circuit. And by the flashing of the lights, I think it may have been the latter.
I was wondering that. It seemed like he was very deep into the corner. Here's the replay though. DeMay going for the inside line, the attacking, overtaking line. I mean, that's okay. There's nothing in that if you ask me. It's such a rubbing paint. But he got the car stopped, and I would say there was just enough racing room. This should give us a slightly better angle of it down into turn 5. The door is open. The opportunity is there to be taken. I would say that's okay. Sam, what do you think?
I think it's just about all right. I mean, generally the rule is that you've got to leave a car's width if the other driver is alongside, but the curb sort of counts as the circuit in some of these corners, and you can use that curb. And I think there was probably the width to the edge of the curb. So, yeah, hopefully everyone is happy with that between Shepherd and DeMay. I think we do have some Sam Shepherd fans flocking to the YouTube chat. Some Shepherd fans flocking to the YouTube chat, who may give their opinions on that incident as well.
Oh, I'd love to hear what they have to say about it. And there's a few in there wondering about Carter as well, I can see, but I don't think I'm going to repeat those ones, but a few giving support to their driver as well. So that's always nice to see, though, when you've got some fans behind you willing you on. It sometimes gives you a little bit of an extra oomph to really go chase it down. I mean, the big example I can always think of is Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone. The British fans absolutely loved it, and he said I think it gave him a few extra temps around a lap, if I am not mistaken. So it sometimes can give you a nice bit of a bonus in performance.
Yeah, a few of them, I think, yeah. It is really good to have that support out there for Shepherd out there, and yeah, he needs all he can get if he's going to retake that 3rd position from DeMay, who is in that podium place now. Of course, Tom Griggs, we haven't talked about him too much. He is a 2.5 ahead of Diaz. Diaz keeping him very honest. I mean, we have seen rounds this season where Griggs has won by over 20 seconds. This is not going to be one of those days. Even if Diaz did have an issue, I think DeMay would keep him honest enough. But Griggs looks like he has enough. And of course, Diaz is his teammate as well. And I think Tom there was a little bit of discussion on the Discord throughout the season, because it was very clear by about round 4 of the season that Tom was going to win the title. And a few sort of calls maybe to do a last to first once he wrapped up the championship or at some point. And I think Tom didn't want to do anything like that until he won the championship. He did win the championship last week. And then I brought the perfect score up. And all of a sudden he seems to care about that quite a lot. And I think his supporters as well seem to care about that quite a lot as well. So he is giving absolutely everything. Otherwise, I think we may well have seen Tom Griggs perhaps set up qualifying and see what he can do from the back, because when he's been starting from the front, he's been fairly untouchable this season.
If he ever finds himself in a similar situation, I could probably bet, easy £100 that he would sit out the qualifying and go for that last to first. But I mean, potentially, I don't know if anyone has gone back and looked at the archives, but potentially the first driver to get the perfect score in a series, that is quite some title, and particularly in such a highly competitive series such as the Apex Racing League. It's certainly something you want on your CV, your driving CV, I would say, because it's no small feat.
Yeah, it really is quite impressive, and I think it'll be a while till we see that, because you've got to stick with all the rounds as well, which Tom has done. So big thanks to him for turning up every week, and then just not making mistakes and not being taken out, and of course not putting yourself in a position where you can get involved in incidents. Really, the only one that I can call like that was Imola, back when he was hit by a GTP through the Villeneuve chicane. Ended up in 2nd place on that occasion, but like I was explaining earlier on, with the drop score, he can drop that 2nd place, and he can still get a perfect score, a 400-point score if he wins this race. Out in lead of the GTPs, the gap is up to 2.7 seconds between Samuele Villa and Francesco Iliano. The gap between them per lap is sort of mirroring what we saw in qualifying, where it's sort of a couple of tenths of a second. And it really does look like it's just going in one direction. And for Iliano, it's has really got away from him. At Belle Isle last time out, he came into the Belle Isle round knowing that 2 second places would be enough to win the title. And he was on course for a second place at Belle Isle, and then with 2 and a bit laps to go, he spun by himself. Admittedly on very worn tyres, 55-minute-old tyres at Belle Isle, which is not an easy task in these GCP cars. He spun, damaged the car, and finished further down the order in 5th place. And had he finished in 2nd place that day, this would be good enough for him. He would be able to finish this race in 2nd place, and he would be the title winner. But instead, because he made that mistake, he instead had to win this round, be ahead of Villa, which is not something he's currently doing. So it really is a championship which, as it stands, with half an hour to go, has fallen from his grasp.
Yeah, the only thing I could maybe hope and sort of cross my fingers for is he's going for a bit more of a bit more fuel saving perhaps than his teammate is out front. But I mean, it's hard to see that is what is happening, because it could be the car difference here that is making the difference. Because I'd say in terms of skill and talent, from what I've seen and from what you've told me, I feel like there's very little in it, if anything at all. So clearly both worthy of the title here, and it is, of course, whoever wins out today wins the whole thing, and both deserve it in their own right. But there's a small part of me, the hope that is inside of me is he's going for a slightly more fuel save and goes for the shorter stop to change this race around later on.
Yeah, let's hope that is the case, that he's able to go an extra lap on fuel, and maybe the tyres as well could maybe age that a little better. Somehow has just come into the pits, actually. Dan McCauley has come to the pits, so he will likely change tyres himself and get back out there. Let's see actually whether he takes tyres. Of course, if they're stationary or if they're on the jacks for like 12 seconds, that means they're taking 2 tyres. So he certainly is going on the jacks. If they're on the jacks for like 24 seconds, then that's going to be 4 tyres. He's coming up to 12 seconds now, and you can see he comes back down. So it's just 2 tyres for McCauley, which I believe would be the left side tyres, because this is a clockwise circuit.
Yep, it would definitely make the most sense. The thing that I obviously would add into that, though, you're switching the lefts up. They'll be cold and your rights will be warm, so you're then getting the car a little bit out of balance as through goes Christopher Bella, ahead of McCauley now. And that's something that's interesting on your outlap, at least, that you've got to get the left side up to temperature whilst the right's already there. You kind of have to work that into your driving style, I'd imagine, for a lap or two. So keep an eye on those guys that are making the tyre change, because mistakes could still happen from them, because the car is a little bit out of whack.
Yeah, certainly picking up a lot of understeer there from McCauley. You can see exactly what you were saying before. Now he's trying to warm up those tyres. And it is something that you've got to really take into consideration. It's not just the, will fresh tyres bring me back this gap? It's, will the fresh tyres bring back this gap, but then also the 2 seconds I'm going to lose warming them up in the first couple of laps, is that going to cost me too much time as well and not make it worth it? And of course, the overcut is going to be a factor as well when it comes to that. So McCauley chooses to do that. Interesting just how much fuel they take as well. I mean, 25 seconds of fuel. He could have taken 4 tyres there, McCauley, and he wouldn't have actually lost any time, because the 4 tyres take about 24 seconds, and he took 25 seconds worth of fuel. So he could have taken 4 tyres. So I'm not quite sure why he didn't. Like, you would think that you would just, that you would take all 4 tyres if you could possibly do it. Of course, it means that he doesn't have to, reheat the right side tyres at least, but you would think you would just take it anyway. But that's not something that he's done. And we'll see if anyone else does any different.
I would argue, though, only having to warm up 2 is, of course, a lot quicker and easier than all 4. Yep. If it is all 4, then...
Bella's off the circuit, by the way, so...
Oh, no worries.
And now he's back in the pit, so I don't know if he's had to tow.
Oh, I'm sure we'll catch that in just a second. But yeah, if you're having to warm up all 4 of them, then it's going to take you a few more, well, a lap or 2 laps potentially to really get the lap times back to where they should be. Let's see what happened though to Christopher Bella. It's round the final corner here, turn 14. Everything looks all okay. Oh, that's a big snap. And that's into the wall as well. So clearly enough damage that he has gone back into the pits to get that sorted out.
And he is knocking on the door, Bella, of another drive-through, because you get a drive-through after 20 instants, and then you get a drive-through for every 10 instants after that. That was a 4x there, and I'm pretty sure I saw him go off the circuit elsewhere. So he's on at least 25 instants right now. He only needs 30 to get another drive-through. It's really been an awful day for Bella, who I think will probably get a penalty as well because of contact that he made with Aiden Carter earlier on in the race. So yeah, not a good time for him at all right now, but he is still soldiering on, albeit over a lap down now on the LMP2 leaders. If there's any consolation for him, the only consolation for him is that he does not need to pit again in this race. He can run to the end on fuel, which might get him back on the lead lap. You can see Samuel Shepherd's actually dropped about 2 seconds off Christophe Domain now, so it doesn't look like he's going to be challenging for that. And now they've got to contend with the GTP leaders.
I was going to say, we're finally getting some traffic in and amongst it. And look at the gap between Villa and Iliano. That has dropped down from, I think it jumped up to 3 seconds at one point. Now, 1.8. So the traffic playing a bit of a factor here. And it's who can clear it the quickest and most effective. That is always the fun part of sort of the endurance style of racing, particularly the multi-class aspect. So it's never quite over if there is a gap that has formed, because it could easily swing right back into the favour of those who can clear the traffic just a bit more effectively.
Yeah, I mean, some of my best memories on iRacing are back in the days, you know, as I think Iliano might get him into Canada Corner here, which was a good effort. So he certainly benefited from that bit of traffic there. So yeah, he's got the cap, as you say, down from about 3 seconds to 2.3 seconds now. But for a period, the IMSA series in iRacing had the Daytona prototype, the Corvette C7, Daytona prototype, the best car in iRacing history. Anyone in chat who wants to back me up on that, feel free to. And they had that, and then GT3s, and then the old Porsche Cup cars, the one that didn't have traction control or ABS or downforce. And so just sending it in that thing and just ruining a lot of days for the Porsche Cup drivers was a lot of fun. And sometimes that's what you got to do in order to get that fastest line through the traffic and make up that crucial time. Falk 4260 asking what's the strength of field. You can see the strength of field of each of the classes just at the top of the screen right now.
You beat me to it, Sam. I was about to go do it myself, but I was going to do it all in my head. I was saying on average, up and down from lowest to highest, you're probably looking at about 5K. But yeah, splitting it up there into classes makes it all the more easier and automatically calculated for me. Lovely stuff. But I mean, yeah, you can just see how competitive the field is, can't you, from that? As I think myself, I've finally climbed up to the heights of 2.6K. I would absolutely suffer in a series like this, because I'd be so far off the pace. I think I'd be too overwhelmed with it all. And the fact that they can do this lap in, lap out without a sweat, I would imagine, for a few of the drivers out there, is nothing short of incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you would be the lowest I-rated driver on the field.
Thank you.
Joshua Germany is 2.8K. So you're not that far off Joshua Germany. And Joshua Germany is a quality driver. I mean, I think he might finish 3rd in the championship. So, I mean, if that's your benchmark, I think you might be fairly competitive in that one.
Maybe.
But yeah, we'll have to get you out, so I could get you out of this commentary and get you out on circuit.
I've considered signing up to one, so
okay,
it might be soon.
Excellent stuff. I look forward to that. Akaronzo asking, oh Josh, Iliano bottling the championship. Well, I think Villa has the pace, I think, today, and we were talking about earlier on the fact that it seems like the Ferrari is the slightly faster car. You can check out the graphic over on the Apex Racing Academy Instagram account, where we do like a bop every single officials week, and yeah, the Ferrari's just got the edge. And frankly, the 0.2 of a second advantage that I think Owen Cowell predicted is coming to effect, and that has been the difference between Villa and Iliane in this race. And so, yes, of course, a mistake last time out for Villa at Belle Isle, but really his first mistake of the season, and yeah, still second place today is a very good performance. But yeah, it is going the way of Samuel Villa. 24 minutes for him to hold on to win this championship and win his 6th race of the season out of 9 races, which is immensely impressive.
Yeah, that is an impressive number. I'll also follow up with Falcon 4260's next part, which is he's at 1.3k iRating. Little advice, I'm sure you'll agree with it, Sam, but I would say up to about 2k iRating. Best strategy, just keep it on the road. Try and avoid those incidents, and the pace is secondary. After that, then you start needing to look at improving your speed, something which can be helped actually from the Apex Racing Academy. So if you do want to go check out apexracingac.com, they have some fantastic track guides, data packs, and some real some setups also to help you pick up the pace and speed. So go check that out, and that'll instantly improve your pace around the circuit.
Excellent segue. 10 out of 10. I'm applauding.
Thank you.
Yeah, great stuff. Yes, Tom Griggs has come into the pits now from the lead of the LMP2s. He is firmly on the ground. He's not changing any tyres. Doesn't feel the need to. And of course, it is a long pit stop. I mean, he is going to be. Oh no, he is on the track. Oh, so he is taking 4 tyres. Then I could not have been more wrong. He is taking 4 tyres then, and he's now, all the fuel is in because he's revving up the engine, and now away he goes. So 25 seconds. So yeah, he's taking it. Oh, of course, it will be a little bit tricky as Iliane has a slowdown. That's what the yellow flag next to his name indicates. He has a slowdown. I don't know how he's. Oh well, I guess the downhill left-hander. Yeah, you can pick one up there. So he had got that gap down in the traffic to about 2.3 seconds, hasn't he? But it's now back up to 3.6.
Yeah, it's not looking good, is it, for Iliane at this point? But never say never, and we've still got the pit stops to be taken into account for the GTP class. So it's still there. It's not completely out of the question. Of course, with racing like this, pace is one thing. You have to make sure you're in it till the very last moment as well, because you never know what's around the corner. Something can always happen. It could be a lapped car. It could easily be a small mistake, and you need to be there to take advantage if something like that happens. The other bit I'm interested in now, Sam, is how close is Diaz to Griggs? It wasn't massive when Diaz came into the pits, but what is it now that they're both back out on the circuit after serving their stop?
Yeah, it's now 2.6 seconds between the pair. Diaz with the slightly warmer tyres, so that might come down. As Carter's just got past Bosworth, by the way, so that is Carter now up into 11th position overall in the LMP2s. And you can see he straight away set his sights on Joshua Germany. Carter had a... Actually, can we see the steering of Carter? Okay, so it looks like he took the faster pair. Yeah, that's steering.
Looks like it.
So he has taken the faster pair. So Carter does need to not pick up he needs to have a car which can drive roughly in a straight line till about 10 minutes to the end. If he crashes in the last 10 minutes, he'll still be within 5 laps of the LMP2 leader. And he should be fine. That was a nice move into T5 on Jensen Bosworth. Yeah, if I were Aiden right now, I would be very cautious, as Christophe Bella has got another drive-through penalty. No driver has got a drive-through penalty apart from Bella, who has got 2 of them, which is a disappointing day for him. And of course, if he keeps going at this rate, he could pick up another by the end of the race. So, yeah, disappointing day for the Delta V Racing car.
It's not the stat you want, is it? 100% of the penalties dished out in a race all going to you. But yeah, real shame because it looked like he was going to give us a decent performance in racing between a couple of them out there. But yeah, dropping down the order. We're still on board here with Aiden Carter, having a look potentially. I would imagine it's going to be down now to turn number 5, where he might be able to try and send a move on Joshua Germany. But like you said, Sam, caution is going to be the aim of the game for Carter. Just bring it home and you'll be very happy indeed. As I think now all the LMP2s have indeed served their pit stops. There, I would say mandatory, but they need it to get to the end on fuel. So we can see how things are going to play out from here.
Yeah, none of the LMP2s at any point in the season managing to get to the end with no tank. I think if you did Belle Isle in the rain, I think they could get to the end of the race without a splash, just about. But yeah, besides that combo, they do have to take the pit stop. Of course, in the GTPs, we have had 2 rounds, both in the dry. First at Portimao earlier on in the season, and then later on in the season at Belle Isle as well, which was very comfortable at Belle Isle. Thomas Toth then rounds, and I don't think that's lost him in position. He was trying to chase down Nick Madsen, but spins and stays in 8th position as we tune back in with Joshua Germany still under pressure from Carter. But the frustrating thing for Carter is just the lack of draft he is getting in that LMP2 car, as Carter has a green light above his cockpit, whereas the driver ahead of him has got a red light. I don't know what that means. Does anyone know what that means?
I was going to ask you that question because you brought it up, so I thought maybe you were going to tell me as well. But I actually haven't the foggiest. No, I really don't. The only thing I can...
What could it mean?
Well, yeah, I don't know. They don't have batteries, do they?
No hybrid.
No, so I really couldn't tell you. What's the next car got? They also got a light? I don't know. What could it mean? What could it mean? What could it mean? I don't know. Please let us know in chat what that means. Viga Van Bert asking, what about Reutemann? He is on 24, 25 off tracks because of live timing. Our live timing isn't especially accurate when it comes to those off tracks, so that you can sort of perhaps ignore that. Sorry, I was missing Carter actually overtaking here, and he is now past Joshua Germany. That will be a bit of a relief for him because there could have been contacts there, but he gets through it, and he might have quite a boring end to this race. He's got 7 seconds back up to Dan McCauley, and I think he has enough pace to pull away from Germany. So hopefully will be a nice and calm final 16 minutes of the season for Aiden Carter now. Absolutely. I have taken to Google to try and figure out what these lights mean on top of the car, but
what doesn't help is that this is the 2017 version of this is nearly a 10-year-old car, which it would be nice for iRacing to update it. It was put in chat earlier on how they should add the Oreca, or of course I'm not actually sure who makes the LMP2 chassis now, but I think it might all be one chassis supplier. Of course, Ligier as well have supplied chassis in the past. I quite like the contrast from the GTPs to the LMP2s, where in the LMP2s you don't have a bop. It is literally just the same car for everyone. And yeah, I think there are positives to that, as Gord really sends it into the pits there, and I am a little bit fearful. We don't see a black flag next to his name, which I think would come up if he was speeding. So Gord pits, Via into the pits as well. Iliane has already pitted. Yep, just needs a clean pit stop. Via, this is one of the last things that can go wrong for him in this championship quest of his.
In terms of the light, still on it. From what I've found, it could just easily be it helps differentiate cars. I've also found an answer that it could be to deal with, it says here leader lights, and depending on how many are illuminated, could mean what position they're in. But
okay,
again, I'm not sure iRacing is... I don't want to say they're not accurate with how cars function, because they are, of course, I would say the top simulator to drive on. But I can't imagine it's that detailed, or correct
I
me,
think
Sam,
they
please.
might do that. I think maybe with a couple of cards. I feel like the LMP1s may have had that, but like they were so far down the order, like I don't think they would like reflect that necessarily. So I don't think it's necessary. I think you might be right. I think it might literally be. I mean, I remember in the GTE days. I mean, you know, I'll reminisce a lot about old iRacing, but like, you know, the 2019 were like peak years in iRacing. Back when you had everyone GT3s. I mean, what GT3s? Everyone's driving GTEs because they're GT3s just with more downforce and are more fun. And you had like really good like neon lights basically by the doors, and you had like 5 different colors like purple and orange and green or whatever that you could use. I think it's probably just one of them perhaps where you can choose what color comes up as your lights. I'm not sure if that's like an option in the setup.
I know you can get like a night light that you get to choose, so maybe it's just that, because we are sort of in the late evening by the looks of it in game, so maybe it's just the lights coming on early for them. But either way you look at it, I'm sure someone knows the full answer, but this is Furlan having a look
Shepard's
at
had an issue.
Seagrow.
What has happened has he hit the wall there, Semiship? But it's not a big thing for the championship, this, because I mean, even in this position, if Carter all of a sudden had a hardware issue, he would be in a championship to win the title, in a position to win the title with Shepard. But looks like, well, no, he's going to lose it by himself. Oh no, has he tapped the car ahead? I am not sure. He might have to get a different angle at that, actually. I doubt he's hit the car ahead, but that did look like a bit of a one of those damage model contacts that iRacing likes to do.
It looks like he may have tapped it. Oh yeah,
I think he did.
Yeah, definitely did there. That was real close. But I think he was lucky to keep it out the wall mainly, because he won't be out of that race. Might just be a bit battered and bruised ego, but still very much in this. And I'm sure he'll learn for next time. Don't get too close to the back of the car in front.
Yes, and it means that we've now got a new leader in the LMP2 AMS. It is Alberto Companion, who looked so good in practice as well. Wasn't necessarily as strong in qualifying as what I was anticipating, as Lawrence lets past his teammate there with no resistance. Maybe, I mean, it seems like the Shepard supporters are quite conscious about the championship, so I wonder if maybe Lawrence is as well, and just trying to help his teammate in whatever way he can. But I'm trying to figure out if that could be Companion's first win of the season. It would not be his first win of the season. In fact, he won back at Imola earlier on the season. That was a race where Karts had to avoid Varga on lap 1, caused him to spin, and very much opened the door for others. He's also got 2 second places in the last 2 rounds, Companion, so really strong end to the season. And I think this would promote him up to 4th place in the championship. He currently sits in 7th place, but yeah, this points haul would get him up a few places.
Yeah, it's always nice finishing strong. It gives you a big boost of confidence going into your next sort of series or events that you're taking on. So Compagnon, yeah, all full props go his way, because he'll carry that forward into whatever he takes on next. And yeah, he gets a home race win, I heard there as well. So that's always nice to take away from a season. But it does mean he is, yeah, from what we've seen, he's now leading that category for the LMP2, so Shepard with his work cut out. As the gap here, as we jump on with Samuel Villa, leader of the overall race and leader of the pro category in the GTPs. And Iliano, that gap's close to touch. It's under 3 seconds, but I think it's going the wrong way again for Francesco. And I think he needs to really up the pace here in these final 10 minutes, or this could be it for the championship.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna change at all, does it? Of course, with I think they kept the same tyres. I don't think they changed tyres before, so the tyres will be getting fairly old, which, as we found out for Iliano last time out, Bellar can cause mistakes in the closing stages. He's kept Villa honest at least, but it was just that first sort of lap or 2 laps, really the first lap mainly, where he fell a second behind, basically out of the draft range. And once he fell out of the draft, it was going to be very tricky to make up that gap, because Villa had the pace in qualifying and he has had a little bit more pace in the race as well. I wonder if you could just change the gap on the timing tower to the relative rather than the gap, just because we've got a few drivers 1 lap down. So yeah, we'll see if we can change that. But yeah, we are 3 seconds ahead with 9.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, interestingly, neither of them, though, the front two, have the fastest lap. That currently goes to Simone Nucera. Currently, I think it's about 4/100ths of a second faster than Villa. But yeah, he has the fastest lap, as this is Nick Masson, who we haven't seen a lot of in this race. And from what we saw in practice, Sam, I thought really was going to be a bit more of a stronger force here tonight. But we are going to see him here potentially make an overtake for 6th overall. So Fernand going to go for that defensive line. Can Masson hold it the long way round? Into turn number 1 they go, side by side still. Has he got the pace to override the, I think it's that Porsche on the inside there of Furlan, but no, he's going to have the advantage. Sweeps back in front, still not got the job done yet.
No, not quite there, as he's going to have another go again. And maybe this is a slightly better position to be on the outside into T5. He gets his nose marginally ahead for a fraction of a second. We'll try to get the cutback, and that is way better traction. And we'll constantly have the move. I think Madsen may have, as there's a bit of a lock up there. It's not totally over for Madsen, but he does consolidate it now. I think Madsen may have taken tyres at his pit stop, and that would very much explain why he seems to have a lot more grip out there on circuits. That's
oh no,
work from myself there. As Madsen locks up, runs wide, and he's going to have to do it again.
Yep, all the hard work, it just comes undone just like that, doesn't it? Real shame, but he's done it once, he can do it again. Question to you, Sam, a bit of a random one, I know. Do you have a favourite move that a driver can pull off? Because we just saw Masson pull the up and under, some people call it, the out to in. I'm not sure how people like to word it, but do you have a favourite type of overtake?
I think the dummy is always a very good one to do. That's often one that I sort of try to go for, where you sort of gesture that you're going to go to the outside and then you quickly change to the inside. And that can be very effective, but at the same time very, very risky as well, because if the other driver covers off the inside still, then you sort of got to get out of it very quick. As Madsen's going to try again here. And I think realising that last time it didn't work so well, he doesn't go for it, but he just drives off the corner so much better. And I think it is those fresh tyres, and gets the inside for T2. And this really does just feel like a matter of when, not if. He does get ahead now, but I thought that if Furlan just kept a little bit further alongside there, he could have used the side jumps a little bit there. He could still do if he could get partially alongside before T5. Madsen's quite a bit earlier on the brakes. And they're both not looking totally comfortable there. Bit of contact again. And I think Madsen's only got himself to blame there for that one, because he didn't leave a whole lot of space for Furlan on the outside. But they are fine and clear. I don't think they're friends, but hopefully they won't have to interact again for the rest of the season.
Well, no, not after that one. I don't think they will be. But yeah, probably not too worried about it. He'll just say, yeah, my line, I had the inside of the corner, and I would have to agree with him as well. But yeah, you still need to leave the cars whipped, don't you? But nevertheless, we move forward, and jumping on board here with Tom Griggs, leader of the LMP2s, and of course leader of the Pro class as well. And that is the gap back to Diaz. So not all that big when we look at it. 2.5 seconds I have on our timing screen. And I mean, has that gap come down? I think to me it's been fairly stable throughout the entire race, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's been around 2.5 seconds. I think we might be able to change the timing tower to the relative rather than the gap, and then that will be able to show yeah, what the gap between these guys is, and the gap between the other drivers as well. Of course, you can check out the live timing link as well. I think there's a link to it in the description, but also in the YouTube chat as well, and you can see the best apps for all the drivers, and much more information there. But yeah, there you can see Diaz, yeah, 2.5 seconds back from Tom Griggs. But yeah, looks like a long shot. Griggs still on course for the perfect score, as Varga has made a mistake. You may have just seen that gap go from a yellow between him and Lawrence back to a white, and Varga not having a fantastic end to the season here, and overdriving a bit into Canada corner here, just carrying too much speed, a little bit of a correction as well mid-corner, and dips into the gravel, and that might be his hopes of getting P6 in this race over and done with.
Just couldn't scrub off enough speed, could he, into the apex. Understeer kicked in, out through the gravel trap. So luckily nothing else came of it, just a little bit of a loss of time. But yeah, I think that move might be off now, as Reutemann is dropping down the order. What has happened here to Ayrton Reutemann? He was 16th, he's dropping even further then. What has happened here, Sam? Have we got eyes on Reutemann out there? Where is he? What is going on?
Yeah, it seems like it might be a connection issue. I think if he was towing, then he would be back in the pits right now. But instead, just, yeah, nothing's coming up. So
Yeah.
must have had a connection fault for Ayrton. And I don't think we've seen him suffer from that so far this season. So unlucky that's happened 5 minutes before the end of the season. I don't think he's going to have time to get back into the server and take the checkered flag either. I mean, the good news right now for Aiden Carter is that I think even if he did crash and break that car into a million pieces, because he doesn't have a fast repair, I think he would be all right, because he would still finish within 5 laps. So we can almost crown Aiden Carter. We'll call it right at the end of the race. And of course, he could potentially get a post-race penalty, but I don't think he's done that much bad out there. So unless he's been very naughty elsewhere, he should be all safe. So of course that was one of our championships to contend. The other championship contender was in the GTP Pros between Villa and Iliana, who came into this round on level points, and Villa currently in a position to win that title as well and win his 5th race of the season as well.
Yeah, that's also, yeah, five races is an impressive stat. I mean, we've already mentioned Tom Briggs' super impressive stat. I mean, the one round that gets dropped as well, it was a 2nd place. I mean,
yeah.
That is just how consistent this man has been. It's absolutely unheard of. The only time you really see that in a real-world setting, I think the only time I can think of is Michael Schumacher. I want to say 2002.
Yeah.
I think he never dropped off the podium, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a almost unrealistic statistic to have, but fair play to him, Mr. Consistency, and if he wins this one, yeah, maxes out the points that he can gain over a season. So really, really nice to see if that can happen, as Nucera has caught the back of Maxime Gord here. So the traffic not being too kind to the Frenchman, and we may see a move in the closing stages.
Maybe got my priorities wrong, but I'm really curious now to see if like Ascari or someone got like a perfect score back in like the 1950s or something, back when I think there was a season where Alfa Romeo or Ferrari won every race, I think, back in the 1950s. And Ascari won 9 in a row as well, and I feel like, did he win like every race in like 1954 or something, or maybe that went over multiple seasons. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I'm not sure if anyone's ever done it. And you had the Indy 500 back then, so it doesn't fully count, I think, because he didn't take part in that one. But I digress. Nucera, as you say, 0.8 of a second behind Gord, and he is getting closer and closer. Gord really seems to be struggling quite a bit now on these old tyres, 1.3 seconds slower than his best lap that last time round. Maybe it was a mistake, but it seems like it is, yeah, the car falling away from underneath him. The only help that he's got is that the track is getting a little bit cooler out there, so that will help him, as you see Nucera really struggling to pitch the car in to Canada corner, and it doesn't look like it's easy for him to get any closer than this. The turbulent air will be making an effect, and yeah, Nucera's car really doesn't look happy at all on the front end as the race leader starts the final lap.
Not one more lap to keep it all together. Gap is 2.5 seconds, so it's dropped a touch, but that'll probably be Villa just taking his time here, making sure he does bring the car home. Knock-on effect though, sometimes if you drive under the performance of what you've been doing, that can have a negative effect to to your racing. So he does need to make sure he keeps the pace up enough. But of course, yeah, bring it to that checkered flag. He should be very happy indeed. But like you say, Nucera stuck a bit in that turbulent, dirty air. Can't get much closer than that. So I think it should be a bit of a parade lap here then for the final tour of Road America. It's definitely produced some decent racing, hasn't it, Sam? I mean, there's been a few actions happening, battles being played out, and I think Nucera could still play one out here on this final lap.
It's all been a weird one where, of course, Villa and Iliano was the championship where they came in level on points, but Villa has had absolute control of it from start to finish. I mean, I really thought at one point that Carter might lose the LMP2 out. I mean, when he put it in the wall, or to be fair, when another driver put him in the wall, 20 minutes in, I thought, oh no, he's going to use up his fast repair and he's going to have to keep it clean for the last 40 minutes. I thought, my goodness, could this actually change hands? But it looks like well, Carter's certainly safe now. It looks like Samuel Villa is going to be safe as well. And a championship which looked far away from him with about 5 minutes to go in Belle Isle. It was out of his hands, but a mistake from Francesco Iliano in the closing minutes 1 week ago, going back into the championship contention. And Villa has taken it with both hands. And the GTP Pro champion then for Season 10 of the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship is Samuel Villa. He has done it with his 5th race victory of the season out of 9 rounds. And he has beaten his teammate Francesco Iliano in a championship battle we will remember for a long, long time. Maxime Gord with a great performance. Simone Nucera as well, really pushing those top 2 in the end. It was a close top 4. Segro is gonna hold off Madsen, I think. But we talked about a run to the line earlier on, and Madsen might just give us that right now. The gap is under a 1/10 of a second. He's not going to close in time, though, even with the side draft. And Segro holds on. Griggs is going to cross the line at some point, and Carter has crossed the line as well. So we can officially say now that Aidan Carter has won in the LMP2 AM Championship. Congratulations to Aidan. He has been a master in several different cars in recent months in Apex Racing League, and he has delivered again. And talking of a master, this man absolutely is the personification of that, because Tom Griggs is going to score a perfect 400-point score with his 8th race victory of the season. And that is a rare feat and will not be achieved, I'm sure, for a long time to come. Congratulations to Tom Griggs for achieving that mega result.
Yeah, real good stuff there. This is the battle for the amateur win here, though. Up to the line, it's almost a drag race and pretty close to a photo finish here as well. But I think Compagnin is going to take it, yes, to the checkered flag. Shepherd only was able to get good enough for 2nd place in the amateur class there as well, up to the line. And over comes Martin Varga as well to round off our finishers. I mean, quite a few stories there, though, isn't there, Sam? I mean, of course, congratulations to Villa, first of all. Really good stuff, commanded start to finish. Tom Griggs with an absolutely legendary run, maxing out the points. And like you say, we thought for a moment Carter may have to think about this championship, but no, brought that one home as well.
Yeah, really good job from him, and a really good job from yourself, I must say. Ashley, thank you so much for helping us out for this round. It's been a pleasure to watch this one alongside you, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you back in the series very, very soon.
Yeah, I hope so as well. Thanks for having me, and yeah, enjoy the rest of it. Real good series, and what a good end.
So that was Ashley Denman there, and yeah, once again, thanks to him for commentating on this race with myself. Here are the final results, and that is the one that really counts a lot in the GTP Pro. Samuel Villa managing to come out on top of Francesco Iliano. Did win 5 races across the season to Francesco's 3, which, and of course, even if Francesco hadn't had that spin at Belle Isle, that would still be the same. It would still be 5 versus 3. So I think obviously both drivers would have been well-deserved champions, but you really cannot deny anything from Samuel Villa, who yeah, puts together a fantastic season and wins his first ever Apex Racing League title. I will quickly give a shout out to a couple new series happening on Apex Racing League. We have our Endurance Championship, which is going to be using these prototype cars, the GTPs and the LMP2s. That starts up in just over 3 weeks' time. We've got plenty of entries already so far, also using the GTD cars as well. So just head over to apexracingleague.com. And you can find more details. You can also sign up for our Porsche Cup League as well. That is on Tuesday nights, and that is always a lot of fun because we have our elimination heat format, which for me is up there with Apex Racing League Touring Cars as the most fun series to commentate on. So really recommend signing yourself up for both of those series, and do so soon because slots will fill up. So let's have a chat with a couple of our drivers, and we've got quite a selection that we can have a chat with. Let's first have a chat with, I think, a man that a lot of people will want to hear from. It is Tom Griggs, who has been supported all the way through the season, and rightly so. And I think your supporters will be very pleased with today's result, Tom, because you have achieved it. You got the perfect 400-point score. Would you say you feel happier now that you've achieved the perfect 400, or last week when you actually won the title? How are the emotions right now?
Yeah, they're quite high, but considering I didn't know this was achievable, is it confirmed? Am I the first to do it?
I'm not. So unfortunately, Tom, I've really let myself down, and I'm not 100% sure that you are. But you're the first that I remember, and considering that it's been 7 years, if it did happen, it was a while ago. So I want to say you are the first person to achieve the perfect score.
Yeah, either way, it's been a really fun championship. Happy to achieve the perfect score. And yeah, the support this season from my friends and family has been incredible. And hopefully this is a nice repay to be, I guess, a history maker in a way.
Absolutely. Yeah, we will certainly remember this one for a long time to come. In terms of today's race, you were kept very honest, it looked like. I mean, in qualifying, you put in an excellent lap, but Lucas was sort of that 2.5 seconds back the whole time. It looked like he never really had an opportunity to breathe too easy out there.
Yeah, I was in a voice chat with him, and I kept saying, like, 7 temps is probably the perfect amount of draft compared to dirty air, because whenever he got within 6 or 7 temps, he just dropped back to a second again. It was just ruined. Can't really follow in the P2 here. The slipstream's not really worth the dirty air in the carousel and some of the corners. But yeah, he kept me very honest. It was quite fun.
And what's next for yourself when it comes to events that you're taking part in terms of just what you're doing in iRacing or in sim racing? Have you got your next sort of few months lined up?
Yeah, next is majors this weekend, 24 hours of Le Mans, my absolute favourite in the P2, of course. So that's next, and then on to Spa, I think, in GT3, Spa 24 after that. Looking forward to both, but hopefully going to win Le Mans. That's top of the list, is to win majors.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck for that one, Tom. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Once again, all my friends and family. My mother has been begging for a shout out because she comes and watches all the races. So shout out to my mother for watching and supporting the entire season. We achieved it. We got it. Yeah, thanks to Effect, Sim Coach as usual. Very happy to get the max score.
Awesome. Congratulations, Tom, and we'll see you back hopefully very soon.
Thank you very much. See ya.
Tom Griggs there with an amazing result, and yeah, I'm pleased just how enthusiastic everyone is about the perfect score. It is an amazing achievement, and yeah, will not be achieved for a long time to come. Remember, that is, you know, for overall in your entire car class. We're not just talking about Pro and Am. We're talking about the whole LMP2 class, and he's won every single race to achieve that. So congratulations. Next up, we'll have a chat with our amateur champion for the LMP2 AMs. It is Aiden Carter. Aiden, congratulations. You are the champion. That is yeah, a fantastic achievement from yourself, especially considering that you missed a round as well. And well, I know I was a little bit concerned for you midway through that race, but in the end, you have done it by quite a comfortable margin. Congratulations on achieving this.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. I was a bit uncomfortable midway through that race as well. I didn't really know what the point situation was in terms of what Shepard needed to beat me in the title, but yeah, really glad to come away with it in the end, even if the final race didn't go according to plan.
Yeah, the situation was that you needed to basically just finish because
Yeah.
I think it would have had to been like I think you would have had to have finished first and you like 19th, and obviously we didn't have 19 LMP2. So I was thinking when you crashed and you picked up damage that you were potentially not going to fix the damage just so that you had like the fast repair spare. But obviously you did the right thing and actually took the fast repair soon after. I mean, what was going through your head at that point? Because it seemed like you made this right call, I think, of not serving the fast repair straight away, and you waited a bit so that you could get to the end of the race. But you must have been getting quite sort of frustrated at that moment because seemingly everything was going against you.
Yeah, a lot of anger in my head and a lot of swear words coming out of my mouth was what was happening in that one. But yeah, I knew that after the third incident I had where I did pick up damage after hitting the wall, I knew that I was close enough in terms of speed to the likes of I can't remember who was in front of me now. Joshua Germany and those like that, they weren't too far ahead of me, so I was still in with a shout of beating them if I made sure that I could get to the end with just the one stop rather than the two. And to be fair, as annoying as the damage was, it was still drivable. It was pulling to the right quite a bit in a straight line, but the car wasn't like snappy oversteery or horribly understeery or anything, so it wasn't awful to drive. I just wanted to make sure, like I say, I got to the end of the race on one stop rather than two.
Definitely, yeah. I think that was the wise thing to do. And in terms of looking ahead at the next few months, am I right in thinking that you put your name down for the Porsche Cup Series? Am I right in saying that?
That is correct. Yeah. I'm doing the Porsche Cup Series, and me and a few Fry Guys teammates have also just signed up for the Endurance Championship coming up as well.
Awesome. That sounds very good. Which are you looking forward to returning to the Porsche Cup car? Because obviously you've had really good pace in I think it was last season that you had really good results in that car as well. So you're looking forward to returning to that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The competition will be really, really tight as it was last season. I'm still kind of getting used to the new version of the Cup car. I definitely prefer the older variant of the 992 Cup car. The newer version I don't enjoy as much, but I'm trying to get more used to how the car behaves. So got a few more weeks yet just to try and get bedded in a bit more into that car, and then yeah, really looking forward to it.
Well, I'm sure that you'll perform very, very well once we get into that season, Aiden. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Fry Guys teammates, I will give a shout out to. They always support and sit in a Discord call with me and make sure that I'm not going insane when I'm doing these races. So big shout out to them. They really, really support me in all my racing, and can't wait to do some more racing as a team with them in future Apex leagues.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the title, Aiden. You really do deserve it, especially from previous seasons as well. And yeah, we'll see you back very soon.
Yeah, I'll see you back very soon, guys. Thank you very much.
So that was Aiden Carter there. Next up, we'll have a chat with another one of our championship winners. It is Samueli Villa, who joins us now. And, well, Samueli, congratulations. That is an unlikely championship. I mean, a week and half an hour ago, it was looking like a long shot. But you have absolutely performed today. You must be delighted to achieve the title win.
Thank you very much. It was a tough race. Eliano and I had very similar paces, and a small mistake could have been fatal. It was a fantastic championship, and I really enjoy it, and I'm so happy to win.
It seemed like a big moment in the race was right at the start because you were basically able to break the draft within about a lap. Was it just like the cold tyres, you think? Were you just a bit more comfortable on the cold tyres compared to Francesco, or was it the dirty air which forced him a little bit further back? I mean, what was sort of going on in those first sort of 2 laps?
Yeah, I think it was the dirty air and the cold tires in the same time. So it was very important to me to take the disadvantage, and I'm so happy to take it.
Absolutely. And then just going into the final few laps as well, I mean, if I recall correctly, I don't think you guys took tyres as far as I'm aware. So, you know, how were you feeling in that final 10 minutes in terms of how was the car feeling? How hard were you able to push? Were you sort of feeling a little bit nervous in the car? Was it affecting your driving? I mean, how was that last 10 minutes under the amount of pressure that you were in?
It was a long 10 minutes final, but I just I keep the pace, keep the calm with the LMP2, and yeah, it was a tough race.
Absolutely. Well, you performed really, really well. Congratulations, Samuele. Is there anyone you want to have a shout out to?
Thanks to my team, all to my teammates, and Forza Ferrari, sempre.
Absolutely, can get behind that. Thank you for providing so much entertainment this season, Samuele, and hope to see you back in a future season.
Thank you very much, guys. See ya.
Samuele Villa there, your championship winner in the GTP Pros. We'll just have a couple more interviews. We'll have Samuel Shepherd up next. Samuel, congratulations. That's a second place in the race and a second place in the championship you managed to confirm today. It looked like quite an action-packed race there. I mean, you were up into second in the early stages. You had some nice fights out there, and then it came down to a run to the line right at the end.
Yeah, it came down just to fuel. I think Alberto just ran out just before me. But yeah, it was a decent race. Didn't quite go the way I wanted it to. I'd have liked to at least have stayed in third place where I was at the time before I had an incident. But yeah, just happy to end the season on somewhat of a high.
Definitely. I mean, when you look at your results across the season, there's certainly been a significant improvement when it comes to the results. Of course, you've scored 2 wins in the final 4 races and 3 podiums in the last 4 races. Would you say you can sort of pinpoint exactly what you've been able to improve on as the 9 rounds have gone by?
I don't know whether I could say exactly. I think I know some parts of where it's come from, just from racing with people and getting used to, obviously, driving with the same people every week. But yeah, it's just disappointing that it's not sort of gone the way I wanted it to at the start of the season, because it probably could have been a lot better, at least for today, for it to be a bit more action-packed.
And what's ahead for you now? Are you going to be doing much more races in the LMP2 cars, or are you sort of preparing for any official series or league series in a different type of car?
Yeah, I mean, I'll stay in the LMP2 for as long as it's on the service, I think. But yeah, I think in a few weeks, the endurance series starts, obviously for yourselves, and we're signed up for that with Matt, one of my Impact teammates. So it's just working towards that, and then obviously majors at the weekend, as Tomo mentioned, which we've got to look forward to as well.
Awesome. Well, best of luck for majors, and yeah, looking forward to see you back on those Friday nights for the endurance series. Anyone you want to give any thanks to?
The only one that I'll give a thanks to for this week is just Tomo. He sat down with me for a couple of hours earlier in the week and managed to find me a fair bit of pace, which I think showed throughout the race. So just thanks to him, because without him I probably wouldn't have been as high as I was.
Well, thank you for having a chat with us once again, Samuel, and yeah, look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time in the endurance series.
All right, cheers, guys.
Samuel Shepherd there, one of the fan favourites in the series, and yeah, really good season put together by him, and like I said, a big improvement as well. Really was the man in form in the second half of the season, so yeah, I'm sure in the endurance series he's going to be one of the front runners. Let's have a chat finally with Martin Varga, who joins us now. Martin, yeah, how was the end of the season there? It looked like you had quite an action-packed one, like a mixed sort of first few laps, and then had to work your way back up through the order.
Oh, not great. First lap, the car was all over the place, just kept snapping in the corners with like no way to keep it on track. I went off in the right-handed kink, and I thought I was gonna spin back on track, but I somehow kept it straight.
Yeah, it's really tricky with those gold tires. I mean, have you found, is there sort of a certain way you have to drive, you know, that first lap, or drive the formation lap that you found, which sort of limits the difficulties with the cold tires? I mean, yeah, what have you sort of learned is the best way to sort of cope with that in the first few stages?
You basically need to just underdrive the first lap, and then on the formation lap just warm the tyres as best you can. But the issue with underdriving is, if people around you have hotter tyres, you have to kind of decide, do you defend, let them go, or do you just risk crashing trying to defend?
Yeah, so yeah, really tricky thing to manage. Yeah, a lot of the time, and well, you managed to mainly keep your nose clean out there today. In terms of future events, of course, we've seen you in a couple of different cars over the last few months. You, what's next on the agenda for yourself?
Probably Watkins 6 hour. I really want to win in LMP2 since I won it last year in GTP. Maybe try getting into another league. Depends how much free time I have and how much confidence I still have in my ability in the LMP2.
Well, we certainly hope to see you back in one form or another, Martin. Of course, best of luck for the Watkins Glen coming up in I think it's 3 weeks time, 2 weeks time, 3 weeks time, I think. So yeah, best of luck for that. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
I'm gonna give a shout out to Sam. He had an amazing race, near perfect. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts competing at the front in IMSA and endurances against top guys with the pace he had today.
Yeah, really has been a very strong driver in the final few stages of this season. So yeah, very well said on that. Well, Martin, it's been fantastic to see you out there this season, and yeah, we'll see you back soon.
Thank you.
Martin Varga there, 6th place, I think, in 5th place, sorry, in the LMP2 Pros today. Well, that is all our interviews done then. I will give one last shout out to the Apex Racing Academy, Apex Racing Academy is one of the people that I should give a shout out to. Of course, if you want to get faster in these GTP cars, or LMP2 cars, or GT3s, or so many other cars on iRacing, just head over to apexracingac.com and you can use their setups and data packs and track guides and all sorts. So just head over to apexracingac.com for that. And of course, check out the Apex Racing Leagues, which are coming up soon as well. In 3 weeks' time, we have the start of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup, and we have the start of the Apex Racing League Endurance Championship as well, the 2026 edition of that. Make sure to head over to apexracingleague.com to sign up, and also there is a link to our Discord in the description as well. Join that, and then that is the quickest way you can find out about any new series which get announced. Also join our follow our Instagram as well. That is another very good place to find out any news about the series and see any of the highlights from our various championships. But that is pretty much it for us then for this season. So congratulations to our championship winners, and thank you to all the drivers for taking part across the 9 rounds that this season has taken place across. Thank you, of course, as well to David Sampson, who has been around for so much of this season for helping us do it. And of course, everyone else who makes this production possible. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, and everyone here at the Apex Racing TV esports studio, we'll say goodbye for now, and we'll see you back for the next season. See you then.
Sim racing has become too expensive, and that's why we've set up our membership here at Apex Racing Sim. This is our sim centre in Corby, and you can use the rigs here for as little as £20 a month. And that's not just for a one-off, that's as much as you want for an entire month. So just head over to apexracingsim.com to become a member.